Hey Spuddies, Potato McWhiskey here and welcome to Let's Play Civilization 6. Today we're going to be playing Rome on Deity difficulty, a Pangea map, standard map size, and we are only going to be playing with natural wonders that have special effects for units today. That means things like Mount Everest, the Matterhorn, Laconic, Halong Bay, Giant's Causeway, Fountain of Youth, and the Bermuda Triangle. We're not guaranteed to see all of those, but I think that's going to be an interesting selection to show up in this game. Everything else is going to be completely standard, and just for fun, we'll play with the Secret Societies mode. We'll be going up against completely random opponents, and that's all the settings. Let's get started. This looks like a pretty good starting location. We have some wine right here with 3 food, 1 production, 1 gold, and some 2 food, 2 production tiles alongside a nice banana tile to grow to as well. So I think I'll be settling in place, although I am tempted to move to the wine. It's actually a pretty tough choice. If I move to the wine, I do get the luxury which I can sell to the AI, but I lose access to this 2 food, 2 production tile. I think settling on luxuries is so valuable that I'm going to do it anyway. Pop our city down, and now we have Rome. The very first thing we need to talk about with Rome as a civilization is the fact that they get to start all of their cities with a free building, and in the ancient era that's going to be the monument. This is actually massive because this is providing me with +2 culture. Normally you only start off with about 1.2 culture at the start of the game. I'm making 3.2, so I'm going to unlock Code of Laws extremely quickly. In terms of opening build orders for Rome, there's kind of 2 basic ideas you can go for. You can either go for something like a triple slinger opener if you want to do early war, or something more regular like getting a single scout and then making a decision further on. I think that's what we're going to do today. Now the consequence of Trajan's column giving us extra culture in the early game is actually massive. First of all, it means our city is going to acquire tiles using culture much faster. Second of all, it means that actually getting settlers is a pretty big deal as Rome, because each settler comes built in with a free monument, which means that we get a lot more benefit from settling a bunch of cities than other civilizations. We also have an extremely good early game unique unit, which opens up possibilities for going to war, and a really nice bath that gives us an extra amenity to help cover all of those extra cities in terms of amenities. The free monument and early game unique unit is actually a big part in why I recommend Rome for new players. It's one of the strongest civs in the game for a new player to learn the game on, because you just don't have to worry about building your monument. In terms of opening technologies, I think we're going to open up with animal husbandry, because that'll give us access to horses, and if we can find horses, that'll be a strategic resource as well as a really powerful tile to work. Oh my goodness, I actually managed to find 2 industrial city-states on the same turn. They both walked into vision range of me. That's really damn good, because it's also given me access to the Owls of Minerva if I want to go ahead and pick those guys up. The other thing that it tells me is that I might want to maybe try to go for an early district or an early wonder, because I get +2 production towards those thanks to getting envoys of both of these guys. This is another really amazing part of Rome. We actually have Code of Laws researched before we've even finished our first scout, which means we're going to be able to plug in +1 production and discipline right at the start of the game. You could also go for God King if you really want to get an early Pantheon, and I think actually early Pantheons are pretty valuable this game, so I'm going to go ahead and go for a Pantheon. I think we'll just get a Pantheon this game. I don't know if going for a religion is worth it as Rome. Religions are really good, but it takes a lot of steam out of your early game. Our main objective is to get the political philosophy as fast as possible and to build a government plaza so that we're prepared to settle as many cities as possible. Once we pick up, I believe it's the Ancestral Hall, that'll give us a 50% production boost towards settlers, and all new cities will gain a free builder, which means if we settle a city as Rome, we'll get a free builder and a free monument. So we'll get to work on craftsmanship so that we can start working towards state workforce. Found ourselves a tribal village, and a barb camp appeared over here, so these are both really, really good for me. I could go for a settler right now, and that's a lot of value, but I think Rome actually really benefits from getting a couple of early slingers out so that they can explore nearby and control barbarian encampments. And also, if we have a lot of room, we can keep settling, and if we don't have a lot of room, we can transition those slingers into archers to attack our neighbors. Barb camps are pretty easy to clear in the early game as Rome, because you have a huge advantage in that you get your +5 advantage versus barbarians very early, so you could just like triple attack it and it'll die. Beautiful. There's animal husbandry, and I don't see a source of horses nearby, which is unfortunate but not the end of the world. Now we can also clear this barb camp. Yoink, that'll give me some era score as well as a nice chunk of gold, as well as a governor title. That extra gold I could put towards a few different things. I don't really have very good tiles to improve right now. I don't have any naked hills that I want to improve with mines, and most of my hills already have some sort of growth on them, which because it's jungle, that's going to require me to pick up bronze working. So I don't think a builder is something I should save for here. I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and just buy these two food, 2 production tiles, so that I get them nice and cheap, and when my population grows, I'll be able to work all 3 of these high production, high food tiles. I have a ton of available chops in my capital, so I think it's pretty reasonable to go ahead and appoint Magnus at this stage of the game. He won't be used immediately, but if I identify that I have a ton of room for settling, I can go ahead and take provision, and if I also decide that I need to go to war, I can plug in Black Marketeer and make an insane amount of legions with this promotion. Speaking of which, you want to start heading in the direction of bronze working, because we would like to find out if we have iron in our empire. That's going to dictate a lot of our early game strategy revolving around the Legion. We have found our very first other player. This is Poundmaker of the Cree, and he's all the way over by the Giant's Causeway. We also picked up another governor title. So he's all the way over here. There's the Giant's Causeway. Now that is something I would like to have inside my empire, or I would like to have him as an ally. We'll see how this relationship develops. When you're promoting your early game warriors, I always recommend going for Battle Cry. It gives you the most strength against the most number of units, because most of the things you're going to be fighting in the early game are things like spearmen, warriors, and archers. Lovely, we met another city-state. This is the Vatican City. We were not the first to meet them, and they are a religious city-state, so they're probably a candidate for us to kill later on in the game once we have something like Catapult. We also found Armagh actually over here too. We didn't find them first either, so this might actually be another candidate for killing. And looking at our current land here, we actually have plenty of land to settle. So I might start moving in the direction of going mass settlement here. Grab this tribal village and see what it holds. Ah, lovely. Another governor title. I found all of the secret societies now, and I need to try and make a decision about which one I want to play. I don't think we are going to play the Void Singers. Although, that said, Void Singers is really, really great as Rome, because you automatically start with the old god obelisk. The Sanguine Pact is also fantastic as well, because you have the possibility to go for really early war. The Hermetic Order, on the other hand, I don't think that's like super amazing for Rome. And I feel like the Elves of Minerva are much better reserved for another type of civ. So it's down to like the Void Singers or the Sanguine Pact for me. I feel like I've done a Sanguine Pact game recently, so I'm going to go ahead and do the Void Singers this game. Now that of course means that we might want to go for a religion this game, even though that's not normally something I would do as Rome. But we're now making 5 faith per turn in our capital, which is really damn good, and it's going to get us a really fast pantheon. I'm a little bit worried about the Cree moving towards me so aggressively, so I'm going to start moving some of my units back towards my capital. I'm hoping they're just going for this barb camp, but you can never be too sure. Nice thing is, it's turn 22 and we just got our Pantheon. Looking through the list of Pantheons, the only ones that really stand out to me right now are Divine Spark, Goddess of Festivals, and weirdly enough, Fertility Rites or City Patron Goddess. And I kind of feel like this game, I might go for City Patron Goddess, because I almost never pick it, and getting that extra little bit of production could make a big difference, especially since I plan to build my holy site in my second city and not in my capital. I have my units in position to keep an eye on the Cree, and it looks like they might just be scouting around and not directly looking to be aggressive. I think my plan is to forward settle the Cree a little bit so that they don't get encouraged to settle up to the north, which I would like to claim for myself. Let's get to work on archery because war with the Cree might be coming soon. I'm not expecting war, it's just a possibility. And it looks like they don't want war right now, so we can switch back to something like riding. Or better yet, bronze working. Because if we get iron and we get legions, it's almost certain that I should try to take at least this city. You know, I've talked a lot about how to settle your first city, but I never really talk about how you should settle your second and third and fourth city. And really, it's all about trying to identify a few different factors. How to settle your land efficiently so that you can cram in a good number of cities. How to settle in the right order, right? So settling efficiently is basically works like this. I just place down a pin, and then every time I take a step away, I count up 1 until I reach 3. So it's 1, 2, 3. That means this is the furthest away that the city will claim, and I can place a city anywhere closer than that. And I'll basically just go through my empire and place city pins 3 tiles away from each other so that I can figure out the optimal number of cities that I can fit into this land. And then I'll look at each city and see if I moved this city 1 tile, would it be a better city? And then that'll cause a ripple effect of moving all the other pins. Oftentimes the very first thing you're going to want to claim with your first settler is a really good city location. And there's a few things you might value that'll make a city location really good. For example, it could be something like a luxury resource like marble. It could be a strategic position. If I were to settle here, for example, or here, this is just a really good position that prevents the Cree from really forward settling me. So I kind of forward settle them, and then I know I have all this land safe. If I was looking to make my second city as strong as possible, I would look for a tile like this with deer, where I can build a lot of stuff really quickly, or gems that I can improve with a mine and have a lot of gold. I think in this particular game, though, I'm more worried about forward settling from the Cree, so I'm going to push forward towards him instead. I thought I picked up that tribal village. I guess I must have just completely forgot. That's a big dumb mistake on my part. Every time we see a barbarian encampment appear, we want to send our units towards it to kill it. That's because we want to get the boost for bronze working ideally. I'm going to settle my city on this tile because it has fresh water. And if I were to settle here, I would have much worse tiles, whereas if I settle here, I have access to slightly better tiles. It's a little bit harder to defend this city because it's not on a hill and it doesn't have a river defending it. However, it is a little bit easier to defend because all of the tiles that are behind it, I can place archers on to shoot over the city, which is not true here. There's mountains blocking that. You always want to have mountains towards your enemy. You don't want to have mountains behind you, because that means you just can't defend in depth. So we'll settle the city here. The very nice thing as well is we get a good little road going through. That's one of Rome's other bonuses. This city, just like my capital, is now pumping out culture and faith thanks to the Void Singers. Let's get started on the Holy Site District. That's also being boosted by my Pantheon. You can see it right here. Instead of making 2 production, I'm making 2.5. That might not seem like a big deal, but it really adds up over the course of the early game. If I finish my holy site 25% faster, that means I have whatever number of turns that was reduced by to do other things with my city. Oh nice, I get to sneak in here with a scout and get the Spear of Fionn. If you're wondering how to pronounce it, it's Spear of Fionn, not Spear of Fionn or... Beautiful, there is state workforce. So the second that I finish this settler, I'm going to get to work on my government plaza. And that's because I want the building that comes from the government plaza, the ancestral hall. Clear this barb camp for an extra little bit of gold, and then we'll talk about that. So there's basically 2 strategies you can employ with Rome. There is the early war strategy, where you go for legions, or the mass settling strategy, where you go for settlers. And really, which one you go for is going to depend on your situation in the game. If you have neighbors, go to war. If you have lots of room to settle, go settling. And if you have both, do both. And we're going to try to do a little bit of both this game. But we got the boost for bronze working, so we'll know if we have iron, and that's going to tell me whether I'm going to go all in on settling, or if I want to go for an early war with legions. I'm keeping my units fairly close to my capital, because I don't feel as fully secure right now. The Cree has a ton of military strength, and they could very easily take Cumae if I'm not watching carefully. I'm also holding on to my gold for when I finish bronze working, because I might need to purchase a builder to actually improve it. Now I still need 2 turns until I reveal iron, and ideally you want to settle the iron with your 3rd settler. This is my 3rd settler, so I'm going to kind of just walk him out in a direction rather than with a specific city in mind, because where the iron appears, or if iron appears at all, is going to dictate where I settle this city. Now that we have our governor plans, we need to start doing a little bit more city planning. And you ideally definitely want to grab yourself a aqueduct in all of your cities. So I'm going to plan to put my aqueduct here, especially because I'm playing Rome. And if I'm putting my aqueduct there, then maybe I should put my government plaza here and an industrial zone over here, for example. And these are kind of just like little plans that I'm making that might work. I could also move my government plaza. I don't want to use up any of my chops, because if I do decide to go to war, I could do a very, very interesting strategy where I promote Magnus with Black Marketeer. I use a builder to chop out a legion, and then use that legion's chop yards to keep chopping out legions until I have an unstoppable swarm of them. But let's get the government plaza started at least, because that's going to be an important part of our strategy, whether we go for war or for mass settling. There's bronze working, and did we in fact find any iron? We did, and it's underneath our holy site. So that's actually a big problem, because I'm not going to be able to get the iron mine boost. And that's the only source of iron I have anywhere, and I managed to put a holy site on it. I really wish I had decided to put my holy site here. And let me explain why this is a really big problem. This is going to take me a very, very long time to unlock. By the time I have iron working unlocked, the AI will probably have crossbowmen, because they just make more science than me, because it's against the Deity AI. Unfortunately, while I technically I could go for some sort of legion play, it would be very, very slow and possibly unsuccessful. So what I'll do here is I'll make a save called Legion Fork, and if the Legion strategy doesn't work out, it'll just be a nice little example of why you need that boost. But we'll do it anyway. In order to try and speed it up a little bit, I'm going to pick up Pingala and give him the researcher promotion. So in 5 turns, Kume will start producing a little bit more science, which will speed up how quickly I get ironworking. This also means that this settler can go pretty much anywhere that I want, and I would ideally like to get a little bit of loyalty pressure on this city, because I really want to keep the Giant's Causeway, and it'll also make attacking the city pretty easy with my legions. Although this city will be really hard to take, because there's only one land tile that I can actually hit the city from. Since we're planning to go to war with him, let's go ahead and sell our luxuries to him for raw gold. What you want to do is offer him this, and say he offers you 6 gold, you want to just multiply this by 20. So 6 times 20 is 120, so he'll pay about 120 gold for this. It won't be exact, you will have to like twiddle the numbers a little bit. They might pay a little bit less or a little bit more, but that's like a rough estimate that gets you really, really close to how much gold you'll get from them. And that gold I'm going to use to chop out a legion once I have them unlocked. I'm also going to use that gold to get archers to be able to use ranged attacks. I'm also going to grab myself an encampment because I'd like to get a great general to be able to push with my legions as well. Settle right here on top of the marble. That'll give you another nice chunk of faith. Remember to do a little bit of planning of your cities once you settle them so that you don't improve tiles that you plan to cover up later with a district. And I think a bath here is totally fine. The city doesn't have a ton of great districts, so I might actually just go for another encampment here. Spend the 60 gold and get a second one going. Let's pick up Black Marketeer so we can spam out legions. And now I need to keep 200 gold in reserve so I can purchase a builder when I'm ready to chop out my legions. I'm also going to need slightly more to upgrade my archers. I think it's going to be 3 archers. So I'll need about another 180. So all in all, I need about 400 gold in the bank by the time I'm ready to go to war. Now that we have a Pantheon, I think it's safe to switch back to urban planning. Probably had God King in a little bit too long. And we'll keep discipline in until we start actually producing military units. We are in a dark age, but that's not the end of the world, because our goal is actually to fully kill the Cree. So it doesn't matter if we have a loyalty problem, because our goal is to get rid of them completely off the map. So if his cities flip independent, as long as we take them back, we'll be fine. I'm going to pop in Monumentality here, although it might be better for me to go for Free Inquiry, because I do plan on getting a few Eurekas this era. Yeah, I think I'm going to go for Free Inquiry, although I am about to get 3 points from Monumentality alone, since I'm working on 3 districts, so that seems like a reasonable move actually. Now we actually finished the encampment in our capital, and we're going to do something that might be a little bit unorthodox. We're going to go for a single barracks and an encampment training. We want to pick up the barracks for the extra +1 production, the extra housing, the citizen slot, and the great general points, as well as the 25% combat experience for all our melee and range units that are trained in this city, because this is where we plan to train all of our legions. We want to go for the encampment training because that's going to give us an extra chunk of gold, as well as great general points. And that leaves just enough time to unlock legions and then begin building them once we finish both of these. Lovely, we just picked up political philosophy and mathematics, and I think what we're going to do is we're going to pick up Classical Republic. This will give me an extra little bit of housing and amenities in my cities, as well as a 15% boost to my great people points. That'll allow me to actually pick up my great general a little bit quicker. And then once we actually have our great general, we'll switch over to oligarchy so that we can get that +4 combat strength on our legions and the extra 20% unit experience, which should combine with the barracks to give them an almost 50% boost to their experience. Now that we have political philosophy, we need to think about what our next moves are. And I think it's probably something like military tradition, games and recreation into military tactics, so that we can get that 30% production towards encampment districts, and also the raid card that'll give us extra yields from actually being at war. There's currently 4 people earning great profit points, and the city of Kume exists to get me a religion early game. That's its job. So I'm probably going to go ahead and grab a shrine in here to try to speed up how quickly I can actually get that. It's pretty slow at the moment, but I'm hoping that that speeds up. I might need to invest in a little bit of money in here, or maybe even steal a tile from Rome. And I think the tile stealing is what's going to have to happen, because I just need to get this number down from like 20 plus turns. In terms of the actual government we're going to plug in, I could plug in monasticism here. It would heavily hurt my culture, but it would give me a ton of science. I don't think a ton of science is what I need right now, because I've almost already got ironworking. The only thing I would maybe consider is stopping off to pick up battering rams and catapults to sort of get myself sort of prepared to follow up, and then maybe crossbowmen. But I'm thinking this might be a fairly simple war, so I don't know if I need that extra massive boost to science from that city. With that said, I'm going to plug in God King for the extra faith and gold, and conscription just in case any of my units cost me gold, which they probably won't. But I'm mainly in Classical Republic for the extra housing and amenity, in my capital, for example, and for the extra great people points towards great generals. Now that we're 2 turns away from getting legions unlocked, it might be a good idea to get primed for actually switching over my government. So we'll begin researching mysticism, so in 2 turns from now, I'll be able to reset my government. And it actually looks like the Cree are planning to forward settle me, which will make this war even easier because I'll be able to get another city for free out of this war. Speaking of which, it's probably a good idea for me to pick up Victor in this city, mainly to use him as a loyalty stick. Brilliant, we finished the barracks in our capital, and we're working on the encampment training. We might not finish the encampment training immediately, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to switch to working on a warrior. Now, that's going to invest some production into a warrior, and then when I unlock Legion's next turn, that production will be transferred into a Legion. Right, perfect. There's ironworking as well as mysticism. Let's go ahead and change our government to oligarchy. We will plug in a GOG, we'll keep urban planning, we'll keep all of these things. I might even plug in diplomatic league to be able to actually spend those envoys I picked up. I'll send one to Armagh, and then I'll send another to Armagh, not because I want the monastery, but because I want the vision of being suzerain of them, as well as the era score and diplomatic favor. Now there's 2 things that we need to do. The first one is to upgrade our legion. This first legion we're going to pay full price on, but every subsequent legion that we build should only cost us 2 iron. What we'll do is we'll upgrade this guy to a legion. So he's a legion with a promotion. We get that era score. Not only that, but now he has a build charge and he's in position on a forest to chop out another legion. Then we can come in here and purchase a builder. And next turn, this builder will also start chopping out more legions. So now we can use legions and builders to chop out legions. And in roughly 3 or 4 turns, we should have like 4 or 5 legions. Oh, I also meant to show you that you can see very clearly that production was actually shifted into this legion. The nice thing too is because we don't actually need that much iron, we can sell some off to the AI. But I do want to keep a healthy supply of it for myself for now. So we have a legion ready to go. Let's go ahead and chop. There we go. We got our legion. Then we can come into our city, start building another legion, use this legion to chop, get that legion on the way. Then use our builder next turn to chop as well. So in a single turn, we managed to pump out 2 legions, and we're 4 turns from another legion, who will also get chopped out next turn, and then chop himself to chop the next legion. You can see how an army of legions can just be, anime teleported out of nowhere once you have Magnus and good land. Now that we have the legion, I think our next path is to pick up battering rams in case they build walls, and then also head up towards engineering so that we can pick up crossbowmen. We're only a few turns from declaring war on Poundmaker, so we're going to go ahead and denounce him so that we can go to war with less grievances. Let's chop out this legion, start building another legion, use this legion to chop out another legion, and then begin moving our other legions to the front line with our slingers, who will be acting as support troops once they're upgraded to archers. The downside to this aggressive chopping strategy is that it will significantly lower the quality of our capital long term, but we're hoping that the payoff for that is actually killing and taking all these Cree cities. Another legion appears and we can double chop out another legion that we'll get next turn, and then we'll use the final chop on this builder to chop this tile, and then the final legion to chop this tile, and we'll have an absolute unmatched swarm of legions, and I'll probably use those last chops to get like my encampment training up. Right, let's get ourselves an archer to support. Don't forget that because we have a decent amount of spare iron, we can actually sell it to the AI. Now, because we because we denounced him, he kind of probably knows that we're coming for him, but that's okay. It's okay if he knows, because our army is going to be so overwhelmingly powerful that he shouldn't be able to stop us anyway. Now we have access to the battering ram as well as games and recreation. I don't think I need to change my government. Let's go ahead and chop out this legion, and then use any overflow production to get the encampment training done so that, I could actually faith purchase Sun Tzu, which means I might just go ahead and hard build a battering ram to be able to hit his cities if he does build walls. So I'm going to go ahead and faith purchase Sun Tzu. That will give me a great general to help these guys out. And now I've got an 8 population capital from all that chopping, and I can go ahead and get to work on Ancestral Hall so that we can do some more settling later on in the game, because there's still plenty of room for cities this game. Although I think I'm going to do a mixture of trying to improve my tiles, get archers as support units, and build ancient walls so that I can get engineering faster to get catapults. But now we have our army, and it should be very, very, very scary because it is a ton of high power legions. I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 legions that have all been chopped out in just a handful of turns, as well as an archer and a slinger ready to back them up. So we can now declare a formal war on Poundmaker, which should only give us 100 grievances against him, or give him 100 grievances against us rather, and now we can begin the war. Now we have a major victory in a lot of areas here. I think I would like to take out this heavy chariot if possible, and it does look like it's possible. And just look how strong these guys are. These guys have 32 combat strength. I have 51. I don't even have my great general in range to actually support them right now. So, it's pretty ridiculous. I want to try to kill his units for experience and just to get rid of them. 3 of the religions have been taken this game, and I now have a shrine in this city. I'm going to go ahead. I would really want to work a holy side prayer, but I wouldn't be able to get it done before the city actually needs it. I think I might just have to go for like a trader or a builder in here to support my economy. Although I think it does make sense to spam some archers out as reinforcements, just to make sure that I win this war. I am being denounced by a couple of people, but that's not a big deal. And I want to hold off pillaging anything until I have the raid card. Let's shoot this slinger and then attack with our legion and begin moving legions in position to capture this city. Let's take out this guy and hope that there's no archers or anything around to actually shoot this guy, because he's pretty vulnerable. He's pretty tanky, actually. He should survive a single archer shot, but maybe not 2. We've got 3 units around the city, so it should be capturable next turn because they do an insane amount of damage. All right, so the Cree have catapults. Now, that's really bad because catapults are only 1 to 2 techs away from machinery. So he's going to have crossbowmen really, really soon. So I need to win this war fast. Let's see if we can take the city down this turn. And it looks like that should be a yes. Should be an easy capture. Then we just pop Victor into that city to provide a little bit of loyalty. We'll try to keep it. Now, the downside is the Cree are currently in a golden age, so loyalty is going to be tough. But it doesn't matter if we can't hold these cities forever. The most important thing is that we can just take them and flip them independent and get rid of all of the Cree cities and then maybe come back and recapture. Mine a resource for the boost to the wheel. That'll give me access to the watermill and heavy chariot, as well as unlock the ability to go for engineering. And that's why I'm building the ancient walls in my capital, so that I can get the Eureka boost for engineering. That'll give me access to bats as well as catapults. There's a Spear of Fionn. Now that's also a huge deal for me, is that all my units are going to be getting Spear of Fionn as I advance through here. So I should be able to clear things like this encampment incredibly easily. Always be looking for trade deals with the AI, especially if you're in need of gold. Right now I need a little bit of gold from the AI to actually upgrade this guy to an archer so he can actually be a useful part of my army. The Cree finally have swordsmen to defend themselves with. That shouldn't prevent me from doing what I need, however. Let's begin killing this swordsman. Should be just a 2-shot kill, and we get 8 experience each, so we'll have another promotion on this guy. I meant to say we'll have another promoted legion rather. And I think this is actually like the perfect setup for us to keep going here. Normally by this point I see crossbowmen, which always has me a bit worried. But the fact that they're only cranking out slingers tells me, well, I mean, I don't know if that slinger is new. But the fact that I haven't seen archers tells me that they might not even have archer tech. But I know they're close to machinery, so it's only a matter of time. Let's step this guy forward and take the battle cry promotion. And then try to kill this slinger with a guy who's close to a promotion. We want to capture the capital and see if we can push east, because it'll take a very, very long time for us to take this city without like archer support. That's what these archers are coming in. I'm going to try and position them around the city to start hammering it. And then we can work, like, I think we can sweep east with our legions faster than we could take this city. And we need to take out all of his cities, so we can't use his science to get, or production to get crossbowmen. It's like, really, it's the most critical thing in the entire game right now, is preventing the Cree from getting crossbowmen in any number more than like 1 or 2. Since we're not planning on producing any more military units, I'm going to go ahead and plug in the raid card, and that's going to allow me to accumulate a ton of resources from pillaging. Right, let's take their capital. We hit them twice, and then I think this unit I want to promote. So if I shoot the city with my archer, then attack with this guy, that'll get him a promotion and me a bunch of boosts. Didn't need to pillage anything. This guy will take the battle cry promotion and then begin pushing. I'll scooch this guy here as well. So it's going to be hard to hold loyalty-wise, right? But that's not a big deal. We'll put Victor in there, and now we can abandon this city because it's about to flip independent anyway. We can come back and clean this up later. I need to clear out some of these units here. Well, we have the most damage against the spearman, so we'll take him out first. We'll step our archer back and take a shot at this guy. We'll come up with this guy, and I think we can clean him up. And then this guy's defensive terrain should be negated, and we can clean him up as well. And then we just need to promote. Battlecry is really, really good. And now we're already threatening the eastern half of his empire. I've been having a scout sit over here as well in position to run in and look for things to pillage. In particular, these mines right here would be amazing because it would also prevent him from getting any more swordsmen. You never want to position your great general underneath a weak unit like an archer. Always try to have it under something strong like a legion. One of the unfortunate things is that Giant Varman actually decided to declare war on me, but I did have a builder in position to actually chop out the walls in my capital. And I could also go ahead and pick up an archer in here. So I should be able to defend that with just an archer and the walls. Because he doesn't have any siege units that can really do damage. The only thing is he might pillage my government plaza, which will upset me. But it's not the end of the world if he does. Yeah, look at that. He's already retreating because I chopped out those walls. It was a good thing that I had that builder in position just in case. But we should be fairly easy to clean this up. That's why it's important to like think about walls. That's why I'm building walls in my cities with encampments, because it just makes me so much safer, because I'm currently like barreling down everything that I've got at like this other player, so I need to keep myself safe. Now, this trade route is actually really high priority for me to pillage right now. So I might see if I can swing over a legion. And even if I lose the opportunity to kill that catapult, it's worth it. Now my goal is to try to approach the city and keep my units healthy. So I'm going to try and swing around as well and see if I can also get pillages on there. And the reason why I'm looking for pillages that are worth gold is because I have negative gold income right now. So I'm in bad shape, and I want to try and do damage to units. Even if this catapult gets back inside the city, its lower health means it'll do less damage to me. So getting a free hit on a catapult, even if I think it's going to get away, actually has long-term advantages because I've now lowered the combat strength of that catapult. And I think I can actually safely attack this city. I'm just so strong right now with the Spear of Fionn and all the other benefits that I have. And sort of part of playing well is recognizing those advantages. Let's get rid of this Cree scout unit because it's running around causing me an issue. I'm also having some trouble with the swordsmen. I think at the current status of the game, I could go for Warlord's Throne, but I'm going to go for Ancestral Hall. I'm just hoping that all the religions haven't been taken. If I look at the list, only 4 people have earned Great People points, which means nobody else is going to get one, and so there should be room for me to pick up a religion this game. It's probably not going to be an amazing religion, but having a religion means I'm incentivized to build holy sites, which means I'm going to get a ton of benefit from ritual here, which gives me 20% of my faith as gold, science, and culture. We want to look for pillages that make sense. In particular, we want to pillage stuff that we don't want to take advantage of, or that we can't. So, for example, this trade route doesn't mean anything to me except for a gold pop. And I think I also want to pick up kills if I can. And I'd like to capture this city. So if I were to use you to do this, then you would get a promotion from killing the city, right? Yeah, perfect. So you've captured another city. I'm going to keep this city. And I'm even, now that I'm having a little bit less loyalty problems, I'm going to start bringing in my other governors. It's now worth it because now I have positive loyalty in here, right? If I can go ahead and capture these 2 cities really quick, I will have positive loyalty in here, and then I can come back and clean up this other side of the empire and be in a great position. Always make sure you're careful about what you shoot. So I could have shot that guy with my archer, but you want to try and use the most limited shots first to get kills. So I'm 1 turn from picking up my bath. Yeah, let's get to work on Ancestral Hall. I think I might transition this into like a peaceful game to show you that like you don't once you go to war, it doesn't mean you have to stay at war forever. Yeah, I'll give pyramids a shot. I might be able to grab it. Now we have engineering. Let's pick up construction and head towards machinery, just in case we happen to need crossbowmen in this war. In terms of your second promotion for your legions and melee units, it's actually a really tough choice. Tortoise makes you pretty much impossible to kill by range units, but Commando makes your units so fast they basically become cavalry. I'm a really big fan of Tortoise because it just means that in order to actually kill my units, they have to attack them in melee. So they're going to take damage from doing damage to me, which is a huge advantage in my opinion. Especially because my units have such high combat strengths. Hey, we found Nubia. That's pretty good. Hopefully not everyone in the game is going to be like my enemy. Pillage for help on you. And we have this city utterly surrounded. One turn until this city flips independent, so I'm going to go ahead and have a look at the Empire map mode and try to position my archer in a safe position so he gets kicked out of the territory. 9 turns until that city flips independent. That's okay. Grab ourselves another one of these. And our goal is to try to get the Cree off the map. Once they're off the map, all of our work is essentially done. I also pillaged for 200 gold there, which is really nice. It means we don't have to worry about any of the nonsense we might otherwise have to worry about in terms of loyalty pressure. You can see here, we're getting almost 4.7 grievances from, or loyalty from grievances. So once we actually kill the Cree, that's not a problem anymore. The fact that they still exist means that we're taking that loyalty penalty. I think Pingala is my transition guy, so I'm going to go ahead and pick up Connoisseur and then maybe Grants, because I do have him in my holy site city. So now he's actually giving me an extra 4 culture from population, which is really, really nice. I was pretty lucky this game that Arabia wasn't in the game. If Arabia was in the game, I would not have gotten a religion. Now that we have military training, I think the transition for more of a Sim City build is to go to feudalism so we can get those 2 extra build actions on our builders. Especially if we plan to mass settle with Ancestral Hall, that'll work out amazingly well for us. Let's reassign Magnus to this new city. It'll give me just enough loyalty to hold it. City flipped independent as expected, but I am in position to respond. Let's go ahead and plunder this trade route. We'll use the archer as the garrison for this city. And I should, in theory, be able to safely step out of this city without loyalty problems. I'm going to go ahead and take commando on this guy. And on this guy, I'll take commando as well so that I have like really, really high movement units to be able to surround and take this city next turn and then turn around and retake all these other cities. Go ahead and condemn that heretic. Bye-bye, Taoism. Nice. We got our great prophet. I'm not going to found my religion right now, and that's for a very, very important reason. If a city is not following your religion and you have founded a religion, you'll get a -3 loyalty penalty. I don't want to take that loyalty penalty right now. So I'm going to wait until my war is over to found my religion. All right, let's hammer this city. It should be a fairly easy kill. All we have to do is surround it. And our legions are so strong that it's now mine. And this one suffers no loyalty penalties because it's completely encapsulated by my own cities. And now we can begin turning around to recapture all the land that's flipping independent. It makes our life a little bit more difficult that it happens this way, but in the end, it doesn't matter. We should be able to pull it off, no problem. The downside is because we didn't actually settle these cities, I think their obelisks were never built, so we're gonna have to hard build them ourselves. Unfortunately, I have a single legion that's like completely surrounded out here, but he is holding his own because he's so tough, and I took the defensive promotions on him. I think I should also go around and make sure that I place down all my bats so that I lock in their price. That's an important thing to know. The cost of a district is dependent upon when you place it. Okay, and every time you research a technology in the tech tree, your percentage of the tech tree is increased. And what that does is, basically, districts have a minimum price and a maximum price. And how much they cost is dependent upon what percentage of the tech tree or civic tree you have researched the most of. So if you've researched 50% of the civic tree, that means the price will be somewhere between the minimum price and the maximum price. So that's why we want to place our district down early so that we can lock in a cheaper price. The reason for that is once you place a district, its price will never increase from researching technology. You don't have to immediately build it, but you should place them as soon as you can. All right, perfect. We have positive loyalty in the entire eastern half of the Cree Empire. And now we can start moving all of our legions forward to re-engage with the enemy. And this little scout, he can go back to doing what he does best, which is like exploring the map. I think it's time for this legion to attempt a break and get out of here because he's been trapped in there for a while now, so we should be able to work on this city. All right, let's begin surrounding it. I love how fast your units are when you get the double promotion. It's like everything feeds in together so nicely. The extra experience, the great general movement, all like the boosts, everything feeds together for a really nice Rome early game. It's honestly, getting a really good early game at Rome is one of the best feelings in Civ 6. Right, so this city needs to fall this turn, I think. So who's close to a promotion? This guy, so ideally he would be the one to capture the city because you get a bunch of experience from capturing a city. Oh no, not an independent city, that's only player cities, sorry. So now we have to start thinking about how we retake, how we take this city. This is the most important city now. And I think how we do it is we get a couple of archers surrounded and we just start slamming, legions into the city willy-nilly, like just start hammering them in and hoping that that works. Right, we captured this city again. We are going to need to reassign Victor to defend it. We've got 4 turns in here. It's not a lot of time. Begin slamming legions in there. I'm going to bring up archers and fall back one of my legions as well. And I need to get units up and in position to hit this city. I need to get as much health off at every turn. Every little chunk of health I get off it gets me a step closer to actually capturing it. No, not the crossbowmen. Oh God. No, it's all collapsing on me. No, this is what I didn't want. They teleported the catapult out of the city with the crossbowmen. I have to like throw my units at this city now. I cannot let this crossbowman live more than a single turn, and he's still going to get kills on me. This is what I'm talking about. It's a race against crossbowmen. If you can beat them before they get crossbowmen, you're in great shape. But the second they get crossbowmen, it's lights out for you, buddy. Yeah, look, losing archers to the crossbow. It's to be expected. But I do have archers in position to help take the city. I'm going to use the full health guy, maximum damage. Perfect. City belongs to me. Let's retreat you to heal. Now we just have one city to capture. Now we just have one final city to recapture, and then a little bit of... Once we have this city, all of our loyalty problems should disappear. But I'm going to call that a successful war. So hopefully you guys learned a little bit about how you should play the Roman early game, especially with the Secret Society mode. That's not going to work if you don't have Secret Societies. Some things won't work. You won't quite have as many governor titles and stuff like that. You won't have the faith to purchase the Great General like I did. So your war will be slightly slower. But you can see, I literally won this war just in time. I knew the crossbowmen were coming. They were always coming. They were going to get me. And I had to stop them, and it took a while, but we got there. I love you all very much, and I hope you guys enjoyed this first video of the Let's Play. Don't forget to leave a like, and bye-bye.